Join me as I dive into the incredible world of Athaliah and challenge myself to discover if she's truly the most powerful priestess in Israel. Do well to subscribe, like, comment and share. Let's go. Athaliah is a name that echoes through the corridors of Israel's spiritual landscape, a priestess shrouded in mystery and power. Her influence is not just a whisper but a resonant voice that commands attention and respect. The mere mention of her name sparks curiosity. What makes her so unique? Long ago, in the kingdom of Judah, after the reigns of King Jehoshaphat and his son Jehoram, a dark shadow fell over the land. That shadow was Queen Athaliah, daughter of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel of Israel. Raised in a household where the worship of Baal, the Canaanite storm god, was exalted over the worship of the Lord, Yahweh, Athaliah grew into a woman driven by power, pride, and the thirst to rule. She was married off to Jehoram, the king of Judah, in what seemed to be a political alliance. Through this marriage, idolatry and wickedness spread into the once godly nation of Judah. Jehoram, influenced by Athaliah and her Baal-worshipping upbringing, turned from the ways of his father Jehoshaphat and led Judah into sin. He murdered all his brothers to secure the throne and allowed pagan altars to be set up in the land. Jehoram reigned for 8 years, and when he died, the people did not mourn him. His youngest son, Ahaziah, became king. But Ahaziah, too, was under the influence of his mother, Athaliah. He ruled only 1 year, doing evil in the sight of the Lord. During a visit to his uncle, King Joram of Israel, Ahaziah was caught up in a rebellion led by Jehu, whom God had anointed to destroy the house of Ahab. Jehu struck down both Joram and Ahaziah. With her son dead, Athaliah seized a shocking opportunity. She took the throne of Judah for herself. The massacre of the royal family. Determined to solidify her grip on power and prevent any claimants to the throne, Athaliah did the unthinkable. She ordered the massacre of the entire royal family, her own grandchildren. She wanted to wipe out the Davidic line, the lineage through which God had promised to bring the Messiah. But in this sea of blood and treachery, a flicker of light remained. Unknown to Athaliah, her infant grandson Joash, also called Jehosh, was rescued from the slaughter by Jehosheba, the brave sister of the late King Ahaziah and the wife of Jehoiada the high priest. Risking her life, Jehosheba took the baby Joash and his nurse and hid them in the temple of the Lord for 6 years. During this time, Athaliah reigned over Judah. Her rule was marked by tyranny and idol worship. She desecrated the temple of God, promoted Baal worship, and silenced the priests and Levites. The people of Judah groaned under her rule, but they feared her wrath and dared not rebel. The priest's plan and the rebellion. In the 7th year of Athaliah's reign, Jehoiada the priest knew the time had come to act. He summoned courage and wisdom from God and carefully plotted a righteous revolt. He gathered the commanders of the guards, Levites, and leaders from across Judah, swearing them to secrecy in the temple. There, Jehoiada revealed the hidden child, the rightful heir to the throne. The men were shocked and overjoyed. The line of David was not broken. Hope was not lost. The child Joash was alive. Jehoiada organized a security plan. 1/3 of the guards would protect the temple, 1/3 would watch the palace, and 1/3 would guard the city gate. He armed them with spears and shields that once belonged to King David. Then, in a moment of dramatic revelation, they brought out the young Joash, placed a crown on his head, anointed him with oil, and proclaimed him king of Judah. The people clapped and shouted, "Long live the king!" The fall of Athaliah. Athaliah heard the shouts from the temple and rushed in. There, she saw Joash, just 7 years old, standing by the pillar of kings, wearing the crown of Judah. The Levites surrounded him, and the people cheered in jubilation. Athaliah tore her robes and screamed, "Treason! Treason!" But her cry was in vain. Jehoiada ordered the guards, "Do not kill her in the temple of the Lord. Take her outside, and let the sword bring justice." Athaliah was seized and taken to the horse gate, where she was executed. So ended the reign of one of the most ruthless queens in Judah's history. Restoration of the kingdom. With Athaliah dead, Joash began his reign as king, though he was only a child. Under the guidance of Jehoiada the priest, Judah returned to the worship of the Lord. The altars of Baal were torn down, its priests slain, and the covenant between God, the king, and the people was renewed. Peace returned to the land. The temple of the Lord was restored, and the people rejoiced. God's promise to David, that his descendants would sit upon the throne, remained intact. All thanks to the courage of a priest, the faith of a sister, and the providence of God. Life lessons from the story of Athaliah. 1. Evil can wear a crown, but God is still on the throne. Athaliah ruled with cruelty and idolatry, and for a time, it seemed evil had triumphed. But God was never absent. He allowed her reign only for a season before justice prevailed. God is sovereign even when evil appears to be in control. 2. Family does not always mean loyalty or righteousness. Athaliah killed her own grandchildren to secure power. Her story shows that being close by blood doesn't guarantee love or integrity. What matters is obedience to God, not bloodline or status. 3. God protects his promises, even when all hope seems lost. God had promised David an enduring dynasty. Athaliah tried to wipe out the Davidic line, but Joash survived. God's promises are unbreakable, even when circumstances seem impossible. 4. The faith and courage of one person can change history. Jehosheba, by hiding Joash, preserved the royal lineage. One act of bravery in the face of great danger made all the difference. It reminds us that even when the world seems dark, one faithful person can be used by God in a mighty way. 5. Spiritual leaders have the power to guide nations. Jehoiada the priest was instrumental in restoring true worship in Judah. His wisdom, courage, and leadership brought revival. Faithful spiritual leadership is crucial to the health of a people or nation. 6. God raises up deliverers at the right time. For 6 years, Athaliah ruled, but God was preparing Joash and raising up Jehoiada behind the scenes. God works quietly in the background and raises up deliverers in his perfect timing. 7. Idolatry and compromise open the door to destruction. Athaliah brought Baal worship into Judah and led the people astray. Her story warns us about the spiritual and moral decay that follows when God's truth is compromised for worldly power or convenience. 8. True worship must be restored for true healing. After Athaliah's death, Jehoiada didn't stop at placing Joash on the throne. He also renewed the covenant, tore down the altars of Baal, and restored the temple. National restoration isn't just political, it must be spiritual. 9. Even a child can be called to lead if God is with him. Joash was only 7 when he became king. His youth did not limit God's plan. God uses the young and the old alike, as long as they walk in his ways. 10. A godly legacy is more powerful than a royal title. Athaliah had royal blood and power but left behind a legacy of death and destruction. Jehoiada, a humble priest, left a legacy of revival and godliness. Our true impact is not in our title, but in our obedience to God. For more biblical stories, kindly subscribe, like, comment and share this video.